Okay, so here I am again, back on the table, same day as the first part. This is part 2 of this repair. I've got a number of things on the table. I've got a little 3M sanding block here. Got my razor saw, which I've already leaked. And I've got some formers cut. So what I'm going to do here in this section is, the first thing, what I did off camera, was I cut these tabs down. And I sanded this pretty lightly because it was really starting to shake things here. I'll probably sand it a little bit better once I get these formers put back in place. But what I've done here is, I'm still trying to figure out what's going to be the best angle to show you this. These pieces that were broken out, I've still got those in place, or I put them back in place. And I made a couple of former braces here. On this one I hosed up the width of that a little bit, but that one is the one that goes in the back here, and this one I've got that a nice fitting little joint there. So what I'm going to do here is, I've got these things here. I've got some medium CA. I'm just going to really hit this thing, these joints here, and then almost immediately put this bunch of CA here and put this thing in place here and hold that, and go ahead and get that glued in place so that it can strengthen this portion up here, and then I'll do the same thing back here. So without any further delay, this is not thin CA, this is medium. So I'm just going to let some drizzle down that side, this front side here, into that crack, and down here, here, and I don't know that I'm gonna worry about that too much here. Now what I'm gonna do here is, I'm gonna put a nice little bead all along there, cap that. Chuck, you really need to help me out with how you keep your glue tips clean. Okay, so this is, I'm holding this in place right now for probably, I don't know, a little while. At least until it grabs. This medium CA grabs pretty quickly. It's grabbing skin already. But I also want to, as long as there's a gap here, and that can kind of flow down there, I want to drizzle, I want a fillet of glue to be drizzling down this opening here. And then I'm going to hold this again. Actually, I want to do a quick wipe, cap, and that gives me plenty of time to do this. Now I don't have any little clamps. I used to have some like 1-inch C-clamps, but I don't really have those anymore. So I'm just gonna have to sit here and hold this thing. So I may just edit the video out so that you're not sitting here watching me watch paint dry, watching glue dry. I really wanted to do some wood glue, and I was out shopping today, and then I completely forgot to get wood glue. So what I'd like to do is, if I'm using medium CA like this, I kind of like to just let it, put it down at the top and just let gravity draw it down. And then it makes a nice fillet. And now what I'm going to do, just for the hell of it, I'm going to put another little line here right on top of that joint. I don't use CA sparingly at all. I use it. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do here is put a nice bead on this cracked joint here. Guide it to where I want it to go there with the tip, and further make my tip dirtier. I think Chris or Chuck both talked about how they keep their tips clean, and that's probably one of the biggest nemesises I've had in all these years of building, is I've never really come across a good way to keep my tip clean. So I gotta hold this, and then I need to drizzle a nice good bead down this joint here. Everybody was basically, or the few people that commented were like, just use CA, just use CA. And I think Chuck was one that said just use CA, so guess what? Since I don't have wood glue, I'm just using CA. But I wanna drizzle a nice long bead here. I'm putting really a lot there. And I'm watching it migrate down that whole joint. And it's about 3/4, 2/3 of the way down that joint now. So pull a little bit more there, keep gravity. So I like to use gravity whenever possible. Gravity is your friend, unless you're drunk, and then it's really not quite as friendly. Okay, so I need to hit this area here too. As you can see, I'm not fussing a whole lot with precision here. That's just, I won't say it's just not my style, but it's just really not my style. So I just get her done, get the glue in there. So this is feeling much, much stronger right now. Now what I'm going to have to do here is probably true this edge up. I don't believe I'm going to be reusing this. It's just not going to work. So I think the next thing that I'm going to end up doing here is finding my triangle stock. And I'll just kind of do some rough marks here. Make a cut. And we'll put a piece of triangle stock here. Something like that. Let's see if I can get another piece cut here real quick like that. It just fits tight enough to... You can always sand things down, but so you want to always cut it a little bit long. I'm not always real good at that. But make your cuts a little bit long, because you can always sand down the final measurements, but like I said, I'm not always super good at that. So that one's good because I made it a little bit long. Now I just made it too short. Yep, see? Lack of precision there. So what we're going to do here now is glue in that piece there. I could probably just cut another one real quick here. I hate to waste triangle stock. Actually, there is no such thing as wasting triangle stock. You wouldn't believe some of the pieces of triangle stock I kept over the years. I hope my head isn't in the way. It's not. That's just... This is pretty aggressive sandpaper that I've got on there, so... One more little pass. There we go. Alright, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run a bead all along this triangle stock here. And since that's the majority of the gluing surface, I'm not going to be too concerned about the ends there, but I will put some glue in there. So I want to make sure this is at least flush with this top piece so that I can use that as a good gluing surface. Gap filling ability here. This one, if I'm swift enough, maybe I can just kind of peel it apart there. Run the bead right down there. And then just stand it back up. So balsa likes to glue really well to balsa with CA. Balsa to plywood is not as good. It doesn't care for that as much. And see, if I do a little bit of sanding here now, some of that dust, that balsa dust, is going into these glue joints. So you get the added benefit of a little bit extra material there. So this is feeling much stronger right now as it is. So I've just put some triangle stock in there. Oh, that smell of CA, I like that. Okay, so now I'm going to put some triangle stock in here since I've got some cut. I don't know how far back I'm going to go. I'll probably go back in here just a little bit, so let's get a rough measurement here of, let's just arbitrarily say that. That's obviously going to be a little bit harder for me to get a glue joint in there, but we're still going to give it a good shot. This time I'm going to put some right on this end piece here too, as well as a nice thick bead here. And what I can do is, if I really get it that industrious, is I can throw some thin CA right there to get the top of that, but I'm really not too concerned about that. Did I hit the top of this with glue or not? I don't remember. Yes, I do work rather rapidly. Let's see here, triangle stock. I really don't want to use too much of this. Of course, it doesn't matter. This triangle stock's pretty much done with its job here now anyways. And I was just at the hobby store, Hobbytown USA, yesterday. With my partner's son. And I was thinking about balsa and looking at balsa. I don't usually use accelerator. I know some of you are probably saying, why aren't you using some accelerator right now? First of all, I don't have any, and secondly, I don't really care for that because my experience with accelerator is that it immediately cures that joint. I wouldn't even say it cures. Here's one of the other things I used. I got these little files. These things are invaluable. I've got a whole set of them here. I don't know if I showed them in another, but these things are invaluable for doing a little bit of sanding and stuff like that. They're just awesome. So the accelerator thing, I don't care for accelerator at all, because the one time or two times I've used accelerator, what it does is it instantly cures the CA, which it doesn't really allow it to cure. It just dries it quickly, and it becomes so hard and brittle that it makes me really trust whether the joint is any good or not. So I don't use it. It's not my thing at all. So now what I can do is, I don't know where this piece came from. I don't know if this one actually came out of this airplane or not. It's just a hair too short. I'd like it to be a little bit longer so I could get a little bit of a glue joint in there. Oh, that's just, boy, where did I get that? I thought if I had I don't know what I can do. I can make a splice here using this. So you're going to get to see, and I don't know how long this video is going to be, but you're going to get to see me make a splice joint there. So here I've got my miter saw, and I'm going to, 45 is going to be the best joint I'm going to be able to make here. The longer the better, the steeper the angle, the longer the better the strength of the joint is, but we're going to have to try 45. And this piece is kind of tore up anyway there, so let's just cut the end of that off at 45. Really would like that to be better, but it's not. Okay, so I don't have any wax paper here. I'm gonna go grab a piece of wax paper real quick. Okay, so got a piece of wax paper here. I'm going to make this splice joint here. Now this isn't going to be a super heavy load bearing joint, so we don't have to worry about that. It really just needs to be strong enough to reach in there and provide just a little bit of additional bracing. So this one I'm going to really hold, and I'm pushing inward and downward at the same time. Get some of this balsa dust here and alright, so you got a splice joint there. Put that down. Now let's see how long we need to cut this. So I'm going to probably cut it right about there. So I'm going to move this thing forward. And then make a mark here. So my splice joint is right here. So I can either put it here. Like I said, this isn't super structural, it's just kind of an additional surface for the glue. So it will be kind of structural in this area, but not so much there, and that's okay. Let's cut that first. Where'd my saw go? There it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna... I'm going to put some CA, pretty good gob CA right here. Some in here, some in here. And we're just going to screw with this thing here. And then I'm going to try and get something up under here to hold up on this. Maybe another piece of this to try and hold it up there. I know what I can do. Maybe I can. Oh, that's not going to be good. Alright, I think I can stop holding that. Let that stuff cure, and I know this is probably a little bit longer segment, but the majority of this repair is done at this point. I'm probably going to see about seeing if I can get some more glue down at the base of these things, but for the most part, this is pretty much ready for the top sheeting to go back on now.